My name was Roberta Jurado, and I was 22 years old when I enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1995. I started as a private E1 medical specialist EMT. While in the military, I changed my name from Roberta to Robin, which is a unisex name. Years later, I was promoted to the rank of E5 Sergeant and served as a military police officer and was honorably discharged in 2005. I decided to enroll into the military because I felt a sense of duty, I'd get military benefits, and I get free training. It's a good career. The good that we do. For example, in Iraq, I got to see the faces of the Iraqis that were grateful and very heartwarming people that supported us trying to help them. My military career ended due to disabilities that had to do with wear and tear on my body. I was a tiny person carrying 75-pound rucksacks in 120-degree heat overseas, as well as ammunition, doing quick turns, moving quickly to do my duties. What it did was cause me back, neck, and shoulder pains for the rest of my life, as well as PTSD. In my case, it's compounded PTSD in regards to everything I've experienced haunts me intrusively. When my military career had ended, I felt my life was over. I had lost my identity, the camaraderie you feel with people that you work with for years, and the stability of knowing what your job is and what you're going to do the next day. That is completely different from civilian life and is an extremely overwhelming experience for any serviceman or woman to transition from military to civilian society. Assimilating into society after military service was extremely hard due to the demands of society. First, you have to get a job, which I had disabilities that were diagnosed but untreated, and that made it very, very challenging to get a job as a disabled veteran. And so I had lost my sense of self and decided to isolate with playing video games. And they were the violent kinds of video games that I would justify to myself as keeping my skills up, my military skills. And in essence, what I was doing was, well, programming my brain for more violence, which is what happened. And so with that isolation, lack of self, lack of support, until I met Colette, not even support from family or the partner I had at the time, because no one understands what a veteran's going through when you're transitioning from knowing what you're doing every day, getting paid every day, to society, which is all over the place, and it's very chaotic, and it's ununiform, which makes it hard for a veteran of war and disabled and disabilities to adjust to. There's a lot of demands.
My name is Colette Klein. I am a County Veteran Service Officer for Washington County Disability Aging Veteran Services. I have been doing this job for 15 years, and as a VSO, my main priority is serving veterans and their families. Growing up in a military family, I understand the sacrifices veterans and their families have made for this country. At that time, Roberta, that's how she came to me, as Roberta Jurado, through the legal system in Washington County court system. And one of the deputies inside the jail reached out to a former cohort of mine who has since retired from the position of a VSO, saying, can you please come and help us? We've got a veteran in here, she's not doing well. We don't think she's going to survive because they're limited in their medical treatment inside the Washington County Jail. So she had a court appearance, and my cohort, Jim Palmer, and I went over to the courtroom and where she was being arraigned in front of Judge Butterfield, and it was very apparent she was not doing well. So through some back and forth with the district attorney, the judge, and Jim Palmer, Lacey's House, which is a home for homeless veterans, nonprofit. We were able to get her released to Lacey's house under house arrest, and which point Lacey Palmer, Jim Palmer's daughter, and I checked on her twice a day, each of us one time a day. Lacey would take her to the VA for her medical treatment, which she was also got assigned to a whole new medical team, including a doctor, primary doctor, psychiatric doctor, social worker, a nurse, and we spent the next 6 months working with her to get her stabilized. Had we not done that, I don't think she would have survived it. The other thing too was during the course of this, she did do her 6 months of house arrest with no infractions. She left when she went to her appointments. Sometimes they were as many as 3 or 4 appointments a week. And then she'd come right back home. Never once did she break the law or violate her release agreement. As a CVSO, we didn't have Veterans Court in Washington County at the time, and Judge Butterfield, who is a Marine himself, saw a veteran in crisis, a veteran who was in combat, and he said, we need to do something, we need to step up. And we did an unorthodox event because it was him also taking a risk with his position as a judge, putting somebody under house arrest. And I went ahead and took the lead. I didn't exactly ask permission with the county to do this. I did it and asked for forgiveness after the fact. And I went ahead and made the commitment of going in and checking on her 7 days a week for 6 months. And what happened was I was able to talk with her, help her with her benefits, work with her claim, and basically just be somebody that she could talk to and vent to, and be this person has no biases towards her identity, just somebody who's there as a friend, who's sympathetic towards her cause and very much advocating to help her with the VA system, so that when she does come out of incarceration, because I also, as a VSO, I'm looking 5-10 years down the road with these people. And when I say these people, I mean all my clients. I'm looking at them 5-10 years down the road. And I'm already working on her stuff, so when she comes out of incarceration and she comes back to see me, I get her benefits started immediately. "6 months was buying, they had to take Robin off all her meds and redo everything, and then place her back on meds that would work with her service-connected disabilities instead of working against her service-connected disabilities. It took the 6 months to basically wash her system of all the medications that she was taking. And at the same time, she was going through intensive mental health therapy at the women's clinic at the VA to cope with her experiences in services, cope with her events after service, and tried to find a way to live with it. Robin had tremendous, tremendous guilt with everything she had done. And she was really struggling with that. And as she was coming out of being so heavily medicated and coming out of that really dark spot and that haze and the fog, as I would call it, she had to face with the reality of things. And so that 6 months bought her time to get this dealt with, which she did.
When I was incarcerated at Coffee Creek, as a person of uniform, the staff knew it, and I was treated differently. Especially when I tried to act the way I've been drilled in the military, to show self-esteem, to show I'm capable of doing things and that I know how to read. I was treated very, very differently. I was targeted. And that made it very, very overwhelming to assimilate into the Coffee Creek to do my time in peace, but that did not happen. So I just did what I could and tried to isolate myself again while I was trying to work on myself. I began to have a glimmer of hope when I was working on myself alone at Coffee Creek. One day I happened to be in the day room and Caitlyn Jenner was on TV. I had no idea that I was trans, and I had the stigma of thinking of trans people as more like drag queens. And what I did was I decided to figure out who I was. And so I would go into the library and check out books quietly. I'd wait for everyone else to go first so no one would see what I'm checking out of the library, because being trans, you get targeted. And so what I did is I read and realized why being gay was just not enough for me. I felt more male than being a lesbian. And once I saw Caitlyn Jenner, that really threw a light bulb light in my mind saying, this is what you are. You just didn't know that that was a possibility for you. So what I did was I began to make plans. After doing some research, I'd make some plans about how to transition once I got out of Coffee Creek, and started checking all my resources and using everything I had at my disposal to become who I am today. When I was released from Coffee Creek, I was very intentional in my goals and what I wanted in life. So I went and sought the VA and stayed at VA housing for 6 months, where they allowed me to save money and begin my transition process. I completed the probation requirements early. My PO saw I was not a career criminal and that I followed all the rules with no problem. And he said, you can go. We don't need to watch you. After that, hope began to become become more of my life when I could see that I can become who I truly wanted to become since I was a child. And now I'm seeing that happen. People are recognizing me as a male, which is comforting. And I've learned a lot as a female that helps me become a better male today.
When Robbie came out of Coffee Creek, Robbie's already had some resources put in place for him. And he did come to see me after he went to go see his probation officer, because that's how they have to go probation first and then the VSO. He came to me, we reestablished his claim, because when veterans are incarcerated, their benefits are reduced to 10%. They don't get the full benefit. So we got those restored from the month that she came out. Roberta got released and announced to me that she was becoming Robbie. So Robbie is now transitioning, and talked to me about goals, what his plans were. We also talked about increasing his VA benefits to get him a permanent 100% total, because we know his service-connected disabilities keep him from gainful employment, and VA recognized that and did grant that to him last month. It opened up the medical, and 100% permanent and total with the VA. You get complete medical coverage. You get your dental, your vision, your hearing. You get everything above and beyond service connection. And as Robbie said, that's huge. The medical piece is huge. And it provided housing. It's providing more education opportunities for him. And it's a stabilized veteran that's housed is a healthy veteran in our community, and that is very much something that we have to focus on.
Yes, actually, I'm very grateful that Colette, she's been my rock. She's helped me get my benefits, helped me adjust to society, even helped me with my memory, which is not part of her job, but she's paid so much attention to my needs, and she's done her job so well, above and beyond, that I can't be anything but grateful. Getting my 100% service disability with her help now allows me to get my transitional surgeries 100% covered. I'm excited about that. It is very hard to pay for those kinds of surgeries, and I'm grateful. Colette really helped me out with that.